First review of the day is going to be for the Game of Thrones spinoff, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and is an adaptation from the work of George R.R. Martin there. This is a spinoff there of his Game of Thrones Song of Ice and Fire series there. It's a prequel set about, I think, a century before the events of Game of Thrones. This is still after. There's another prequel show out right now called House of the Dragon.
This is about 80 years after the Dance of Dragons, which House of the Dragon is adapting right now, and 100 years before Game of Thrones starts.
Yeah. So it's in the middle between those two things. This one is supposed to be a more somewhat lighter tale there, a typical kind of lone wolf and cub type story. In this, you have a knight by the name of Sir Duncan the Tall there, who do hear reference of in actual Game of Thrones. We do see some references to that character there. And he is a little squire by the name of Egg, who has a secret identity there, who's running around this poor little boy called Egg, but really he is Aegon, who is the son of the king there. And the king in this is... what is it? Not Baelor, it's Maekar, Prince King Maekar, right?
No, the king doesn't really appear in this show, but attending this tournament that Sir Duncan finds himself in is other members of the royal family, chief among them being Prince Baelor Breakspear Targaryen, who's played here by Bertie Carvel, who's Hand of the King and heir to the Iron Throne.
Okay, so Maekar is still the prince. Okay, so he's the prince there. So you have that there, and it's just kind of this story about the two of them kind of bonding, and then this is very low stakes. It's not, usually in these Game of Thrones shows about people competing for the Iron Throne, who's going to get it, everybody vying for it.
But here, dragons are fighting, and here it's kind of a moral tale about what does it mean to be a good man and a true knight in this world where so much of the drama is built in backstabbing and corruption.
Yeah. Who you got this guy who's played by Peter Clafley there, who is the Sir Duncan the Tall there, who is really tall in real life. He's 6'5" there. And you see his height there amongst all these other people. You see him bumping his head into entrances and everything like that. And like you said, it's just a guy that just is trying to be a good guy when the whole world shits on him. The whole world, just looks down on him. He's stupid.
He's probably the most endearing character in one of these spinoffs. And I think what makes him so fun to watch is Peter Clafley's performance, and that he is just as it is that kind of classic underdog story where it is a guy who really doesn't fit into this world, has grown up hearing all the stories of what being a knight in this world should be. And he embodies that perfectly. This is a very good, like a companion piece to something like Superman about, what it means to be a good man.
Yeah. And I could see him as a Superman there. But he's ginger, so that's forbidden. I can't allow that.
With the long hair, he looks like a buff Steve the Pirate from Dodgeball.
he looks like yoked Alan Tudyk.
This guy would have made a good Thor before they casted the show there. He made a good Thor. But yeah, I mean, you just kind of have him, and his whole thing, the whole build of the show is that he's trying to enter this tournament there so a noble family will notice him, and then he'll be taken in by them, and he'll work for them. And that's kind of the stakes you have of this kind of show there. So it's a lot of, because he's poor, so it's a lot of him trying to, is he going to sell off his horses to afford to enter the tournament, get the armor, make a shield, all these type of things there.
Even if he does enter the tournament, is he going to win? Because if he doesn't, then, his horse and his arms are held ransom and he's got to buy it back.
Yeah. So it's like all this stuff. And he's like, he goes to the game master and he's like, okay, I'm trying to enter this thing. But also even getting in the tournament, he needs somebody to sponsor him. He needs a noble to sponsor him to do so.
Because in Game of Thrones world, while, you can either be knighted by the king or by another knight, somebody has to witness it. So nobody can just say, hey, I got knighted by this guy. Somebody's got to vouch for you.
And the night,
And the bit of drama in here is that the knight that he squired for, Sir Arlen of Pennytree, is kind of like kind of a forgettable, kind of old hedge knight himself.
yeah, he goes to all these different families and tries to appeal to them. He's like, you know, Sir Arlen, he worked for you, and don't you remember him? And he helped in this. He's like, no, I don't remember him. It's like, no, that's like, you know how many
Fuck
people,
off.
you know, like people that we've lost in battles and everything like that. You expect me to remember one night there? He's like, no, I don't remember that. And so that's kind of sad of him just kind of kicking his head held down and everything like that, just kind of like, oh, okay. Like he's just like a beaten up dog. And I know when Sage, you know, you talked about a little bit about the series of just hearing a little bit about it, maybe even seeing the trailer for it, about the tone shift of this. Different, like we see like the first episode when they're playing the epic Game of Thrones music, then it cuts
Immediately
to him
cuts to him taking a shit.
taking a
I
shit.
thought
and
I
he's-
saw George R. R. Martin complaining that they put that in the show too.
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
I mean,
it's one thing where you know, this is taking a much more lighthearted, almost comedic tone, but there is a moment in here where they earn the bells and whistles of the Game of Thrones theme.
yeah, especially this episode
Mhm.
5, which you see in the trailer a little bit there,
Mhm.
which is considered like one of the best episodes in not only of this show but in all of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
People really,
I would very much agree with that. And and what makes that episode work is that for as short as the episode is, it is, you know, it is most of it is told via flashback about like Duncan's origins, because he grew up as just like this little homeless kid in Flea Bottom, which, you know, if you remember the Game of Thrones show, is a shithole.
you know, it was like one of the poorest places in all the Seven Kingdoms there. And yeah, so it's a more kind of lighthearted kind of tone than you've seen from Game of Thrones there in terms of so you do have a lot of moments, and also the way they tell the stories. Different, like you mentioned, the flashbacks. Like we've had flashbacks in Game of Thrones, but not in the middle of telling the story. Like somebody could be telling something, and they have like these cutaway flashbacks, which is something we haven't seen before in Game of Thrones before. And like there's like a whole montage of like him remembering his knight there, Sir Alan, and it just like there's a montage of him getting the shit slapped out of him and everything like that. So there's a whole thing. So we haven't seen that before in a Game of Thrones series. And yeah, I mean, it really is sold by the relationship between Duncan, between Egg, how they have this kind of you know, connection there, and how they're kind of made for each other. And I really love that a lot. And their chemistry really works. And I think they encourage the two actors to spend a lot of time offset together to really build up that chemistry.
Mhm.
One great moment is like when they're sitting there talking, and he's like, well, you know, my whole life everyone called me dumb and stupid and I would never amount to anything, because he's trying to like cheer the kid up,
And the
everything, like,
kid is just roasting him.
Yeah.
And
and he was like, and then he was like, you know, usually that's something follows it, like, oh yeah, and by the way, I proved everybody wrong, and that was actually really smart. But no, he just he just keeps eating, and like, what, you want me to solve all your problems for you? You know, like so there's kind of sweet, cute kind of moments like that, which works. And then but like you mentioned, there are the moments that remind you that it is Game of Thrones because of the brutality of it, and we
Mhm.
see that from the Targaryens. There's always a psycho Targaryen there. And we do see that who antagonizes and really beats up a lot of the civilians that we see
Mhm.
in the show there. Do you remember what area they're in when the tournament happens? Like
Yeah,
what,
they're in a little town called Ashford, which is this
Okay.
where this tournament's being held for this poor young maiden's like 13th name day.
Mm,
And you can't just have anything nice in this world, because a Targaryen will come and fuck it up for everybody.
yeah.
Because
some-
yeah, Prince Arian, who is played by Finn Bennett, he like throws a temper tantrum over a puppet show, and Sir Duncan rightfully slaps the shit out of him.
Yeah. We see like a love interest in the show for him as well there. And we see like in this show that the people towards the Targaryen family very hostile. You know, it's
Yeah, there's been at least 3 civil wars. The country was, you know, destroyed by Dragonfire because of this family, and they're over it.
Yeah. So you see a lot more people kind of more hostile to the Targaryen family, making fun of them through the puppet shows, everything like that. And we see that kind of happen. And yeah, so I thought that was kind of really great there. But we get to see some of them. The one real noble Targaryen is
Mhm,
Prince Baelor that we see in it. Who he has some a lot of really great moments in the
mhm.
show.
Yeah,
Uh
and he's played by Bertie Carvel, who really got his start playing Miss Trunchbull on Broadway in Matilda the musical.
Oh, wow. Okay, he did some drag. Okay, gotcha. That's very cool. But yeah, so I any kind of things that with this kind of change of tone and style, did you have a issue with that, Nick, of getting into this or no?
Not at all. Martin has been writing in this world for the better part of almost 40 years, whether it be through the novels, through, various spin-offs, through when he was consulted on Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, that it is kind of a world where you can take different tones and have different styles of filmmaking in this sandbox of Westeros. And this was like a really good change of pace. If I liked House of the Dragon for kind of reminding me of Game of Thrones when it was at its best, this is like refreshing that it's taking a different tone and with a character that we've only ever heard about in passing through, episodes and hearsay in Game of Thrones. Like I
Mm.
remember like when Joffrey was talking to Jamie after, he gets his hand cut off and he's talking about like the Book of Brothers of the Kingsguard. And Sir Duncan was a guy who had 4 pages written about him.
Mm, yeah. And how long this show will go on? Because like some like House of the Dragon, there's like
Mhm.
they're like, no, they want to cut it off. I think season 4, season 5 is about where they want to
Yeah,
end it.
that has a very limited kind of lifespan for House of the Dragon because even in the book Fire and Blood, the whole conflict between the blacks and greens that only takes up like 3 chapters.
Yeah. Now this show, I mean, the creator of this show said like, well, his dream is for them to do 10 seasons, take a break, then come back 10 years later, then do 10 more seasons,
That's a
then come
little
back.
that's a little ambitious.
Yeah, that's like his thing for it. Cause like these characters go all the way up until like their 50s and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, the character Prince Aegon the Fifth, he goes on to be like one of the few Targaryens that rules the land peacefully.
Mm. Yeah. So you get now I don't know, what they're gonna do. Timeline wanted to do all that. I don't know what they're gonna do, or maybe just cast new actors, maybe. I don't know. But yeah. But they want to do at least I think a Game of Thrones show every year. And this is
Mhm.
easy to do because it's only 6 episodes they're doing. Each is about 30 something minutes. So it's a quick watch.
Yeah,
So it's easy to do one
yeah,
every
even
year.
the audiobook that I'm listening to now, I read The Hedge Knight, which is like the first chapter that this is adapting. That audiobook was only like 3 hours long.
Oh
Mm,
wow, that's short.
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, so I greatly enjoyed it. I mean, and like the different tone, like the different style they were doing, and mentioned like it said the best episode of this season, which is In the Name of the Mother, which is episode 5, which is the big tournament battle. And you see like it's him entering this thing, not to be a part of a noble family, but he has to protect his name and honor because he
Mhm.
assaulted someone of the royal family, a
Yeah, and
Targaryen.
yeah, and instead of, facing him down in a single trial by combat, like everybody else does, Arion knows he can't take on Duncan by himself, so he calls for a trial of 7, which is exactly what it sounds like. 7 nights on 7 nights.
Yeah. And that's a big epic moment, this big battle, lances, maces, everything like that. And it's
Mhm.
brutal.
People get
Um
fucked up in this trial of 7.
it is absolutely kind of brutal there. But I mean, I give Arian his kind of credit though. I mean, he was kind of holding his own. I mean, he's quick, he's shifty. You know what I mean? And the Targaryen armor looks so much kind of like Dracula type armor and everything
Yeah,
like that. That's also
if
another thing.
yeah, if the, costuming on, Thrones and House of the Dragon, especially with the armor, it kind of like all looked the same towards the end of the series. They really show out in the costume design here. Everyone's armor is looked very distinct. I think especially because this is a tournament, this isn't like a real battle, so the armor is meant to be more ornate than typical.
Yeah. So I thought, yeah, that was really great there, and it proves its worth. But yeah. So if you're, I mean, I think this is also easier to consume if you
Mhm.
were like someone who's like Game of Thrones got so many characters, so much stuff going
Mhm.
on, all these other different places and locations, and all these people with all these names, and everybody's named Aegon, and like who the fuck am I talking about? This is much more simpler and condensed, and I think an easier story to follow for people who do get sick of so many characters and everything like that. So I think it's better for people also like that. So, and I know there are people like Sage who, go like, "Hey, listen, I'm done with Game of Thrones. I'm
Mhm.
off of it. It ended bad for me." And even House of the Dragon, I like the first season.
Mhm.
Second season, I think, is much weaker.
The second season, it's very clear that it was a writer strike season.
Yeah, I think that was the problem with that one. They are doing a season 3. I think season 3
Yeah,
is coming
season
out.
yeah, season 3 is out this year. I think it starts airing over the summer, which
Okay.
I hope they've managed to figure their shit out. And I'm a little softer on House of the Dragon because it's adapting in universe of Westeros. Fire and Blood is like an in-universe history book. So it's
Mm,
like there's a lot of things that are said that could be open to interpretations because it's not being told by people who were there. It's being told
Mm.
by maesters recounting the events after the fact.
It's interesting.
yeah.
That's sort of a Lord of the Rings approach.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna watch it season 3, and review it. So I said, hope it's better than season 2. Do you think
as
that?
long as Damon doesn't go spend like 8 episodes in fucking Harrenhal again, I think we're fine.
Yeah. Some people say this is already Night of the Seven Kings is their favorite Game of Thrones
Mm.
adaptation. Would you agree?
It it's hard to say because this is only the first season. But as of right now, it's probably my favorite season in this world.
Mm,
It's the one that I think is the most consistent, the easiest, the most palatable to enjoy. I put this right up there with like either the first or the fourth season of Thrones.
mm. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So what will be your final thoughts rating for Night of
Shit.
the Seven Kings?
Yeah, this is damn near peak television. The performances in this, the chemistry between Peter Clafley and Dexter Solancel as Duncan Egg, it is the stuff that TV was made to be watched for. Seeing this relationship and the spawn between the two characters, it's what makes the show. And even now, reading the book, you see, because the book is told from Sir Duncan's perspective, I'm kind of filling in a lot of blanks, even that's not of stuff that isn't said on screen by Claffey, because he's a character that doesn't really say much or is trying to figure out his words as he's saying them. And
Mm,
his performance is so good in this. And this is like the most fun show to watch in this world. And the performances in this, especially from uh from Bertie Carvel as Prince Baylor, he is one of the most fascinating Targaryen characters we've gotten because he is so much of that good man that this realm really needs. And the real tragedy is that, yeah, he doesn't make it because he chose to do the right thing.
yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, how could I forget this guy? He's also been MVP this season. Was the guy who played the Baratheon,
Oh,
Daniel.
yeah, Daniel Ings, who, for all of you Netflix watchers, he was the brother in the Gentleman Netflix show, and he's
Okay.
amazing in that as well. And he's the like most chaotic energy, and him and Duncan have like further beef in later stories in history, and he is so entertaining to watch.
Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic as Lionel Baratheon there, who's like the great grandfather of Robert Baratheon.
Mhm,
Yeah, so that, I mean, he's just awesome to watch on screen. And then he's like one of those performances because, from my knowledge, he doesn't have a big part in the book,
mhm.
but he's like a character that you want to see come back up, and through the actor's performance, makes the character really come alive
Yeah,
and do
in
really well.
he doesn't have as big a role in the Hedge Knight, but there's like a later Baratheon rebellion that forces him and Duncan to butt heads later in life. And this is
Interesting.
after Eggs become king.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'd love to see that, yeah, revisited with that. It kind of reminds me of like, who was that guy that was like best friends with Jamie Lannister but didn't have like a big
Oh,
role in
Bronn.
Braun? Yeah, like
Yeah,
the actor just
he's
did such a great job.
Bronn. He's a Bronn character that they figured out something to do with.
Yeah. Yeah. So That was really good. So yeah, I agree with Nick. I think this is peak television. This is really enjoyable. Quick binge, quick watch there. I wanted more more episodes. I think that's my only real major criticism with this. At least two more. You know what I mean? Because it is kind of short. Because it's like one of those things where it says like 35 minutes or 40 minutes, but most of that's credit at the end is credits, like 8 minutes credits, and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, a show like this is really sold by the two leads, and I think they do a great job. Peter Claflin and the kid who plays Egg there, Dexter Ansel, they do really amazing together. And I think the show really has to be on their shoulders because you're going to be following them through most of this season. You're going to go meet new people, new characters, new locations, but it's always going to remain them as constant. And I think that, like you said, if you're tired of Game of Thrones, I think this will be a good kind of palate cleanser for that, of like maybe soft launching you back into it. Now, I'm not saying you got to go and watch House of Dragon, you got to go do all that other shit, but just, this is fun for now. And, not too much of a strong investment, I think, there with that.
Yeah, it's very telling that this, out of all of the adaptations, this is the one that Martin is the most heavily involved in.
Yeah. So they're letting him on set for now, and let him, getting his input for now.
Man will do everything but finish Winds of Winter.
Yeah. I don't know. Have you heard of like what he wants from like future wise with how many seasons? Because I know House of the Dragon, he said he only wanted 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah, I think he said for House of the Dragon he only wants like a max of 4 seasons, and I think for Night of the Seven Kingdoms he said that you could easily do like maybe 5 seasons where you follow Dunk and Egg through their whole lives.
Yeah, I don't know. 5 seasons would be tough if you're only doing 6 episodes. That'd be kind of tough, but we'll see. But I don't know. Kid actors, they age up quick. I mean, they sprout up quick. And how old is Dexter? Only like maybe 10 or 12 or something?
Yeah, he's only, I think he was like 11 when they shot the first season.
Yeah. Wow. So that, and he got even kind of like Targaryen hair. Okay. So, he's kind of even got that look to him. Let me show a little bit to him. And I think the next Game of Thrones thing is what, like, because I think they're planning on doing like a movie of like the Aegon's Conquer. They're planning on, I think, doing a movie of that.
There was a lot of stuff announced that I don't think sees the light of day.
Yeah, but I think they want to do that, and then they also want
things they've canceled outright already.
Yeah.
They outright canceled that Jon Snow sequel series.
And didn't they want to do one about Arya being Christopher Columbus?
Yeah,
like a pirate or some shit. She wanted to be a pirate.
2021 they announced like an animated spinoff that has since then like died in development hell.
I could be wrong, or maybe what I read was totally inaccurate, but I thought just in the last couple of weeks I saw something about that they had like hired Gendy Tartakovsky to spearhead that.
Ooh,
I could be wrong. Maybe I'm crazy, but
I'm looking on Wikipedia. They like announced an animated show about the Sea Snake, who is a character in House of the Dragon, but nothing since 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. And I
might just be making stuff up then.
This was because I think I told you about this. I think.
Oh, is that what? Okay.
Yeah, Anime Game of Sea spinoff, 9 Voyages. I think I told you, that they wanted to do that.
More of a rumor than an official announcement.
Gotcha. Yeah, and you said you didn't care. You're like, man, I don't give a shit. I'm still not watching. Yeah, and I think that I don't know. Maybe this is not going to be enticing to you, but I think maybe Peter Caffey had like let slip that maybe they're going to do like a Blackfire Rebellion flashback, and Henry Cavill is going to be Damien Blackfire.
I don't have a problem with Henry Cavill. I have a problem with Zack Snyder.
Okay, so your beef isn't with, you think you like him as an actor, Henry Cavill?
Yeah, he's great in like Mission Impossible. I feel bad for Henry Cavill. I keep thinking like I hope one of these things works out for you.
I hope he gets his like Andrew Garfield redemption tour where he gets to like show out in one performance to just show that, hey, wasn't my fault, guys.
Make a Kingdom Come movie. Get him as the old Superman in that.
Well, he's gonna be Highlander. That's his next thing, Highlander. So 2 peaks for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms on HBO now. Soon to be HBO Paramount Plus, wherever the fuck you want to call it, HBO Mount Plus Max.
They'll just keep merging, and eventually
it'll be Paramax Plus.
Paramount Plus.
It was like, what was that like really long like company name from BoJack Horseman? It's like a Paramount, Time Warner, Lexicodes, Viacom on Skynet.
They'll buy NBC Universal, and it'll be Mount Maxcock.
Yeah, that was the thoughts on Night of the Seven Kingdoms there.